Marriage does not take away loneliness. Let me tell you that there is something like married and lonely, and that is worse than single and lonely. We go to school to learn to ride. We go to school to learn to read. We go to school to learn to drive. We go to school to learn to cook. And we go to school to learn to be doctors and lawyers and accountants and engineers. But when it comes to love relationships and marriage, there's no school to teach us how to do it right. And yet, our love relationships can either make or mess us up. The area of love is the most important aspect of our lives because it can affect everything else in our lives, our happiness, our health, and even our wealth. And it is also the vehicle through which we create the next generation. Unfortunately, many of us get into marriage without knowing what we are doing. So this month, I'm glad to serve you by sharing my insights on love and marriage gleaned from my 41 plus years of marriage and from my extended counseling career. For this first presentation on love and marriage in 2025, I want to speak to those who are not married. To those who are not married, I say, don't be forced or pressured into marriage. Unfortunately, our society does not permit a lady to remain single. A single girl in her late 20s and beyond in Ghana is in trouble. Everyone feels it is their right to ask her why she's not married and to put pressure on her to marry. It is an injustice. I am serious about this because I've seen too many cases in which blessed ladies are forced to settle with people they know even before they're married that they do not love them. It is sad. We need to learn that half a marriage is not better than no marriage. Half a husband is not better than none. Half a wife is not better than no wife. Single people owe it to themselves and to society to make sure that they are marrying for themselves when they are ready and they are marrying the right people. So, to the singles, I want you to note the following points. 1. Understand that your life is complete with or without marriage. If you don't feel complete as a single, trust me, marriage will not make you feel complete. In fact, if you count on your partner to make you feel complete, you will put too much burden on that person and destroy your relationship. So work on being complete as a single and you will then become a great lover. 2. Singles must understand that many married people are great actors. The couple who arrives in church smiling and holding hands and calling each other darling may not have spoken a polite word to each other for days. So don't be fooled by the rosy picture some married people give. Be patient and work towards your own in your own time. Remember that every marriage has its own formula. So take your time and don't believe the PR stunt that some married people put out for the sake of the world. 3. Don't marry to please anyone. One of the mistakes some young people make is to marry to please society or even their families. They marry because their families or peers push them to. Big mistake. Deliberately decide to marry, not to please anyone, but because you want to. Number 4, don't marry out of pity. Some young people marry out of pity. They believe that if they do not marry the person, he or she will be destroyed. Well, if you marry out of pity, that person will punish you and make you regret your decision every day. 5, marriage does not take away loneliness. If you think marriage will ensure that you don't feel lonely anymore, let me tell you that there is something like married and lonely, and that is worse than single and lonely. So find a solution to your loneliness before you get married. Number 6, marriage will not protect you from sexual temptation. A lot of people who are struggling with sexual temptation are lured into marrying and to believing that if they marry, they will get all the sex they want and not have to fight sexual temptation again as long as they remain married. It is a myth. Marriage is not an answer to sexual temptation. In fact, marriage could make the situation worse. A single person would have to learn to overcome sexual temptation first. That person will have to learn to develop self-control before marriage, or he or she is in trouble after marriage. Number 7, be the right person and you would attract the right partner. You know, a lot of people spend their lives searching for the right person to marry. In most cases, they get disappointed or disillusioned. Instead of searching for the right person, be the right person and you will attract the right partner. Finally, number 8 for this morning, don't be afraid to start all over. There are cases where somebody, after dating for some years, becomes aware now that the person he or she is dating may not be the right person, or that that relationship does not have a future. Now, when they discover this, they still want to go ahead with the relationship because they look at the number of years they have been dating this person and they think they can't let the emotional investment go for nothing. Now, if you do that, you'll regret your decision every day. Never be afraid to walk away from a relationship for which you have doubts and about which you do not have any inner peace. Let it go. Walk away from that relationship, especially if it doesn't bring you peace and fulfillment.